In this video, I'm going to share with you an easy, natural, everyday eyeshadow look for mature, aging, hooded and downturned eyes. Welcome to my channel where I share all things beauty and lifestyle aimed at the more mature woman as I navigate my more mature years. If you are interested in content, tips, tricks, reviews and other interesting things aimed at the more mature girl, please consider subscribing by clicking on the subscribe button down below. I do upload videos on a weekly basis and I would love to see you back. Now, as I said, I am going to create an easy, natural, everyday look for my eyes, which are mature, hooded and downturned, and I'm going to show how you can enhance your eyes and make them appear less downturned and less hooded. I'm going to be using the Natasha Denona Glam palette today. It's a beautiful palette with beautiful neutral tones. Now, before we get started, I think something that's really important, and I've done my brows already, is that your brows, you follow the line of your natural brow, and if they come down, I would suggest that you look at plucking the end of them and shaping them so that they are more sort of either straight aligned or, well, straight aligned is really good, but not totally downturned. If you shade your brows and you bring the tail in a downward motion, you are drawing the eye down to follow that line, and you are actually emphasizing that downturned eye. So by leaving your brows more straight across, you are already giving the illusion of more of a lift there. Now, before we get started, I always like to prime my eyes because I have a hood and a fold in my eye, and I have a very small eyelid space. I like using some sort of eye primer before I get started so that I don't get transfer or a crease in my eyeshadow. Now, I use several different eye primers. Today I am using the NARS Soft Matte Concealer, and I'm just going to apply that on my lids. Just a light coat of that. I just find it helps the longevity of my shadows and really does stop that transfer and that creasing. I then like to set that with a light translucent powder. I use the same powder I use for my under eye concealer, and it is the Hourglass Diffused Light, and just lightly set that before it creases, and if I don't set it straight away it does crease quite quickly. And that is just the nature of my eyes. I have oily skin, oily combo skin, and it goes through to my eyes as well. Sorry about that, that was my sun bursting in the room. Okay, so taking the Natasha Denona Glam palette, you have a really good array of shadows in this palette with mattes, shimmers and metallics, and I'm going to take this shade up in this top corner here, and it is labelled a crease shade. I am going to take my Morphe 504 brush and that crease shade and just dip my brush in very lightly. I suggest that if you are wanting a more natural look, you start out with just a little bit of shadow. It is better to build up the colour than it is to try and rectify you going in too heavy. And I'm just going to go into this area in my top hood, and if you pop in the end of a brush and you can actually feel the socket line, what I call going around your eyeball, and I just start by just sweeping across that area. I can be generous because I have very big real estate in my top hood area, And rather than coming down, like following the shape of my downturned eye, I want to more than anything flick it up and go with the shape of my brow or across. So we're just doing that just to give a nice blend, diffused transition area for what we're going to build. And it's really easy, you don't have to be too fussy. And I'm using little circular motions and that window wiper action as well. Okay, so that's your transition shade. With my Makeup Geek Outer V brush, I'm going to go in with the shade that is actually called Smoke in this palette. Now when I'm doing my outer portion of my eye, I don't like to just go in like I did with the transition area. I like to tap my eyeshadow and take it up to just lay that colour on. Now while I've got a little bit left on the brush, I'm going to take that under my eye in the outer third. Now I'm going to lift the end of my eyebrow because I like to get in the fold. I have a fold here at the end of my eye, so I like to lift the tail of my eyebrow, and I'm going to follow the line of my lower lash and take that up to give me the right angle of where I want that dark shade to go. And then just tapping to add that colour. Now while we're in this position, I'm going to take my mirror and I'm going to look straight ahead, and just using a tiny little bit of extra powder, I'm going to make sure that I can see the edge of that colour at the edge of my eye, so that when I'm looking ahead I'm making my crease higher than it naturally is, and I'm just adding a little bit of colour there. I'm going softly adding it in, and then slowly trying to shape the shape I want out the side. So when I raise my eyebrows, I can fill in all the gaps. Now what I'm wanting to do with this tail here, I don't want it drooping down, I want it to appear going up. So I'm going to take that a wee bit higher. And when you've got your eye raised, or your eyebrow raised like this, it looks like you're really going overboard, but you're not. So taking that up so that my eye is going on an angle like that, but when my eye is open, you can see that colour. And I haven't been dipping in for extra colour, I'm just blending what's already there. And then just running that in the outer third of the eye, like so. And I'm just going to keep no more extra colour, but with my mirror in front of me, just making sure. And I'm following the line of my eyebrow here and just tapping that colour in. As you're going along, you're tweaking, you're looking, you're making sure each side is even, and my eyes droop more on one side than the other, so this, you know, I can fiddle a little bit more, making sure that I'm getting a very similar shape once I'm looking straight ahead. Now I've used a dark colour on the outside. Now you could go a shade lighter in the transition area and a lighter shade in the outside, but I like to wear a dark outer eye colour, and you can just go with whatever suits you. If you wanted something more subdued, you go for a lighter shade. And so you can see where I've drawn the eye up, you can see that colour when my eyes are open, and we are good to go and the eyes are more awake. To really emphasize that, we're going to go with a shimmer colour. Now I have done an eye look showing you how to do a flattering eye look for a hooded eye using matte shades. Well, we're going to try a shimmer today, and I'm going to go in with the shade here which says Center Eyelid, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And I'm going to use this end of the brush. I'm using one of my Anastasia Beverly Hills palette brushes. You have a natural little shadow in the inside of your eye, a shadow by the side of your nose that goes up to your eyebrow. So we are going to use the bright end. We're going to go into that little pocket and pop in our pale shimmer shade, and we're going to meet that line that we have done with our dark colour. We're going to take this colour up to that shade, up to that height. And just pack that shimmer on. I like shimmer. You could stick with a matte. I like shimmer. I don't care that I've got mature eyes. I think a shimmer just adds some zhuzh. So I've gone for more of a neutral shimmer rather than a very bold white shade. Now I am going to take the inner corner shade and just pop that in the center with my finger. Go back with that brush and just blend it together. Going back with our outer V brush, no product, and just make sure that we are blended in the center there and it's not a harsh line. Then we are going to go back with our first blending brush, no extra colour, and we're going to make sure that all our lines at the top are blended and softened and are not harsh. That is something that is important on a mature eye for softness, is to make sure that all our edges are blended and that they are soft and not harsh, unless that's the look you're going for, like if you were using tape on your eye. But we're wanting an everyday easy look. So that's just 3 colours we've used on our eyes, and we've done a third of a line with the outer V or the outer darker colour. We've done our transition shade and a lighter lid shade. Something that I think is important for a hooded eye is doing a liner close to the lashes on the top. Now you can use a pencil liner, and I like doing my waterline, so I am going to do that because that's something I like doing. I am going to just lightly just add a little bit of liner with the pencil, and then I'm going to show you that you can take a very straight flat brush, and this is a Sigma Flat Definer E15, and I'm going to take the shade in here that does say Lash Line, and I'm going to dip that in there. And another way to thicken up the look of your eyelash is to just press this shade as close to your lashes as possible, and it just makes your lashes look a little bit thicker. And it just lifts the eyes a little bit, I believe, for hooded eyes. I'm going to go away and add some top lashes and some lower lash mascara, and I'll be right back. So once you have your lashes on, you can tweak a little bit more if you want to make your eyes appear more open. So you could go back with your original brush, your original blending brush. I'm going to go in with the blend color and just touch that in lightly, and taking my palette and putting it in front so I can see the mirror, I'm just going to, because once you've got your lashes on, I'm just going to finish that area just under the brow, very lightly blending that dark shade with that transition shade, and just softly blending it so that it does look soft. Okay, so that is the finished look. As I said, it is meant to be an easy, natural, everyday look. I went for slightly darker shades so that I could really emphasize the technique and look for you. You could go for more subdued colors, you could go for mauves, you could go for coppers, you could go for purples, anything using this same technique. You don't need to use a shimmer shade on the lid. You could go for a flat matte, as long as it is a light or the lightest shade that you have. It will enhance the lid space that you have. And I think that that just really helps elongate the eyes, lift the eyes. It doesn't draw your eye downwards in the shape of your downturned eyes, but instead it tricks the eye into thinking that your eyes are more lifted. I hope that was an easy enough eye look for you and that the steps were straightforward enough. Please let me know your feedback in the comments below. If you'd like me to break it down even further, I can. The key, I feel, is especially for the dark shade in the outer portion of the eye, is that you don't go in with a lot of shadow, you don't swipe, you tap. And I really like that tapping motion of just adding the color in a little bit at a time and then slowly blending it in. Just adding the color in a tapping motion really is key to making sure you don't apply too much. Make sure you're dipping your brush in very lightly in the eyeshadow pan, dusting it off, and go in with a light hand to start with and build up. It is so much easier than if you get a really dark blob of shadow on your eye and you're trying to work with that. It is best to add and just add color and blend, add color, blend, add color, blend. And it may take a bit of practice, and you can just keep going back. If you have a little bit out here that you're not sure, go back with your original blending brush, blend it out, but make sure all your edges are blended and are soft, and it makes all the difference and isn't so harsh on a more mature and aging eye. If you did find that helpful, guys, please give the video a thumbs up. I would truly appreciate it. Don't forget, if you would like to see other videos along these lines, please hit the subscribe button down below. As I said, I upload videos on a weekly basis, and I hope you find my videos informative and helpful. Do leave me feedback. I would love to hear what you have to say. Are there any other videos that you would like me to film for your entertainment, for tips and ideas of how to apply makeup? Let me know and I will address that. I hope you've all had a beautiful and a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.